I like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This series is called Brand New Cherry Flavor. A limited series with 8 episodes, about 40 to 45 minutes apiece. Episode 1 called I Exist. Boom, let's get it. So we got this chick named Lisa just driving on the road. Takes place in the early 90s there in California. She gets to a payphone and talks to her friend Cody, basically looking for a spot to crash out. Then this guy on a motorcycle pops up. He doesn't even get any gas or anything, he just stops there. So apparently he was there for the sole purpose of following her. So she finally gets to Cody's house. He's living with his girlfriend named Christine, that she just now learned about. As they get to chilling, we found out Lisa made this short film a while ago. And she tells Cody she talked to this guy named Lou Burke. Lou Burke is actually going to sign off on her project. Apparently he was some high-ranking director some years ago. Next morning, Christine wakes her up. She tells her about the rules and regulations of the house. Talks about how she's in real estate and all that. And then Cody's like, get your ass up. You got to get your interview with Lou Burke, get it popping. So she heads on over to this restaurant and she meets that infamous Lou Burke. Now he apparently seen her film and he wants to take her on as a new protege. But she's under the condition as long as she can direct it. Then they start talking about the film. We get a little bit of an insight of what she did, her little 30-minute film. So the film she made was about this girl. She has a certain type of power. And other people trying to get their hands on it, even to the extent of trying to kill her. They don't really give us a whole lot in detail just yet. Then when they leave out, they meet this actor named Rory Hardaway. Apparently he's some type of A-list actor or something. And as they're conversating in the distance, Lisa sees the motorcycle guy again. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why does this motorcycle person keep following her? We don't know, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna find out. And she's one of those directors that's pretty much living out of her car. Lou says he's gonna put her in the big leagues that cuts her a check for like $10,000. He tells her to get a contract and have a lawyer look it over and do all that. So when she gets back to the house, that's exactly what she does. This guy in the middle looks over the contract. His name is Jules. This lady got bandages on her face because she just had surgery. She re-enhanced her face, talking about she want to look like the next Daryl Hannah. So this guy reads over the contract and says everything's good. Now the big thing she wants to look over in this contract is the fact that she can still direct. You know, because directors get producing credit and all that shit. So then she signs on a dotted line. So with the money she got herself a little apartment. Christine tells her there are like coyotes in the area and shit. But Lisa don't care. She's enjoying the view. Later on, she meets up with Lou. He's trying to get her to sell herself on this idea of being a director. Because he's going to set up a meeting with this guy named Alvin. In this conversation, we found out the last real big movie that Lou's had was back in like 1986. But keep in mind, this is in the 90s, so it wasn't that long ago. Later on, she goes back to the house and looks through this book. And she looks at this picture of this lady with her cat looking down the road. I'm not really sure what that represents. But I can tell you cats are kind of the theme of this show. Because when she hears a noise later to go outside and check on it, there's a bunch of cats surrounding eating a dead wolf. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, Lisa, I don't know what to make of it either. But who's this lady in the background? It's a mystery. Anyway, she goes back to Lou's house the next day to get some more preparation. While he's doing that, he tells another crazy ass story. Then they look over the city to smoke and clear their heads. He had asked her before who was her audience, and she turns around and she says her mom. The thing is, she never met her mom before. She abandoned her at birth. She wants to make a movie good enough so that one day her mom will see it. Then he tells her we're going to meet up with the dude Alvin tomorrow. Next day comes, they ready to meet Alvin. They're talking about going as a team, doing everything together and all that. But as he's saying that, he's got his hand on her leg. What's he trying to do here? You can tell she feels uncomfortable at this point, but she's going along with it because she's about to make her dreams come true. So he apologizes, she smiles it off and says, I think we make a good team too. Then they get to the gallery. You got all this crazy shit going on with abstract paintings and whatnot. So while he turns her to stand here and take it all in, he's gonna go look for Alvin. So as she's chilling watching all this abstract stuff, some guy comes up to her and starts talking. Could this be Alvin? Because he clearly knew who Lisa was. And then apparently the lady she saw in her backyard who happens to show up here. And then she pops out the blue with a cat. Currently, her name is Boro. She asks her about what she has on her insides and asks Lisa if she could act like a house. Like if somebody was a house with her, how would she break in or something like that. It's pretty cryptic. Then she tells her to hold her cat. Then she writes on there if you need any help, and then she writes her address on her arm. She says she don't have a phone number, but you'll see a white Jaguar out front. You'll know I'm there. Then she tells her to bring her cat with her, but she's holding her cat. So at this point, you're like, okay, what's up with this lady? Then he comes back from Alvin telling him, like, yeah, everything is good, the deal's done, we got it, popping. She's like, wait a minute, everything's all good? I didn't even get to speak to him, like, what's good? He's acting all apprehensive, it's like, dude, don't worry about it, you got this, you know what I'm saying? I got it for you. So at this point, she feels some type of way. She's like, damn, I couldn't even meet Alvin, like, the fuck I got all dressed up for? Then he takes her back out to the spot to celebrate. They get out the car to look over the city lights, but what is he doing? Then he tries to kiss her, but she ain't having none of that. So he tells himself he misread the signals wrong and gets back in the car. So he's basically like, hey, you coming? But she decides she's gonna walk, so he dips off. So as she gets back home chilling in the bathtub, she's looking at the address on her arm, but she can't wipe it off. And then all of a sudden, Miss Boro's cat is just sitting there out of blue. How did that cat get to her house? Was this supposed to happen? After she gets out the tub, she still has her cat. Then Cody gets back and tells her the news about a contract and tells her that Jules is actually meeting up with Lou Burke right now to discuss him directing the film. What the fuck? Lisa's been had. So she pulls up to Lou's house about to cause ruckus, busts through the door, comes to the backyard, and there he is chilling with his falcon, his son, and I'm assuming that's his wife. So while Lisa's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, Lou was like, you ain't read the contract right, did you? And basically the $10,000 that he gave her was to buy the movie. He's got a solid contract, so ain't really much she can do about it. He tells her to take it as a lesson and learn in life. Then she asks, "Is that your wife? Maybe I should tell her about your indiscretions and lewd behavior the other night." Then he kicks her out the house. She leaves out mad or whatever like that, but he doesn't want to have her leave angry. Then he wants her to apologize to him, because one, walking in uninvited, and two, threatening him in his house. He's like, "Motherfucker, you can't even admit that you just stole some shit from me." Then he starts choking her like, "Oh shit." Then he starts talking shit to her like, "This is why your mother abandoned you," and all this other stuff. I was like, damn. Then he lets her go and goes back in the house. Yeah, you got fucked over by Lou and Jules possibly too. Honestly, you should have had a lawyer look over that contract for real, for real. So with the only thing she ever cared about belonging in the hands of someone else, what's she gonna do? With that in mind, she's got one spot to go to. She goes to Miss Borrow's house. But when she gets to the front gate, she sees the same motorcycle guy that's been following her the entire movie. I mean, the entire show. Now I know it's supposed to be a different guy, but when he takes his helmet off, he looks like a zombie version of Luke. Well, anyway, he gets her to follow, and she walks into this Poison Ivy style greenhouse. Some naked dude just sitting on the side. And right in front of her, you see all these people there while Burrow's doing a tattoo on somebody's back. So Lisa asks Burrow, she's ready to do whatever it takes. She wants to get her movie back. And Burrow says, "Yeah, it's gonna cost you." She says, "I'll pay you whatever you want, it doesn't matter." But I'm not so sure she's looking for money. She keeps telling her she has the gift. Then all of a sudden, she starts feeling sick, she starts throwing up. And she throws up a fucking cat. The movie didn't get sci-fi until this part right here. And she tells her this is part of her payment. And even after all that, she's willing to go through with it. Man, I don't know what kind of power Burrow has, but I'm ready to find out. Brand new cherry flavor on Netflix. Check it out. Like, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. So these are the best stars. Oh, man, could you got this slogan?